Matthew's story was very complex because, well, first of all, he never really had a proper diagnosis of autism or Asperger's syndrome. I still don't know which of the two it was. I mean, he had a statement from school, because obviously he had learning difficulties, but they never actually put a name onto it. But I knew that this was his problem. So he was on the autistic spectrum. At school, at normal school, primary school, he struggled very much, and he had a personal assistant all the time with him. But once, I think he was in his penultimate year at primary school, there was a very bad incident, and basically the headmistress of the school didn't really know how to deal with him, and his behavior became very disruptive, and he started to sort of throw chairs, and he became very, very aggressive because they didn't understand what his needs were, and everything escalated. So that was very unfortunate. And from that then onwards, we realized that he should have gone to special school. And so he went to a local special school called Northcott, and things went much better then. And then he went to Bishop Burton College of Agriculture, and he did a course that he enjoyed very much. He had hobbies. He had a passion for bell ringing, and he started just on his own. He just followed the sound of bells in Cottingham, where we lived, and still I live. And he just followed the sound of the bells, and without telling me anything, he just disappeared one night. And and then I followed him, and that's where he was going. And he went up, and he became a bell ringer. The bell ringers adopted him, and despite his disability, he became quite an accomplished bell ringer. Did weddings regularly in the area. He was called for that. And then the other hobby was trains, and so once a month he used to go to Gromont in the local national railways. I can't remember now, North Yorkshire Moor railways, and he got some training to sort of polish old trains, steam trains, and he loved big metal things and heavy things. They had an attraction for him, and he learned to drive. He passed his test, I think, at the 5th or 6th attempt, but he persisted, and he could drive, and he was a very good driver. Yes, and sadly, I don't know when things started to get wrong, because he was a very kind young man, and very wanting to please all the time. And even for me, his mother, it was difficult sometimes to communicate. He found it difficult to communicate his difficulties, and if something wrong had happened, it wasn't easy to get it out of him. And so I when something went wrong, I used to sort of talk to him, and I thought he had calmed down, and he was smiling again, and the following day he was okay, but obviously he wasn't. And it's sort of his well, I would say mental state deteriorated. He became more and more anxious about things, and I was still at full-time work, and so he had some time on his own in the house. And I think, had he had a place like this, he would have been able to come here and meet other people, and do things, fun things, make friends. Unfortunately, so this happened, and he didn't cope anymore, and so that's his story. But I'm sure he would be very pleased if he could see a place like this. He wasn't very high functioning. No. I mean, he could read and write. He could speak Italian. He was bilingual Italian, because we brought him up with two languages. So that doesn't seem to be a problem for, I would say, for autistic children. He learned it as a child, and he communicated very, very well, even in Italy, with his grandparents and his aunts. But he certainly was not academically gifted, not at all, and he always struggled. But As I said, he was always wanting to please the teachers, and he always did what he was told to do. Yeah. There is quite a lot, I think, for individuals who are deeply autistic. For example, local charity Find has a very good service to help them. But what I found with Matthew was that once he reached the age of 18 and he had gone through schooling with special help, special school, college again, especially for people with learning difficulties, but when he reached the age of 18, everything stopped and there was nothing really for him to turn to and to get help or further his education or increase, acquire new skills, nothing at all. And that's when we started to sort of explore to see if elsewhere in England or in Scotland, in fact, there was something that was appropriate for people with higher functioning autism. And in fact, we went to Edinburgh. Sally Stokes, who was the mother of a Aspergers syndrome young man. We went to Edinburgh and they have a centre which was, for me, what really inspired me. And for me, it was a model for what I wanted to achieve here. And it has given us lots of ideas. I don't think we're quite there yet. They have been established for a long time. And in Scotland, I think they have better resources for this sort of thing. But hopefully, we'll get there and improve all the facilities we have already. The function of Matthew's Hub is both to help the people who are affected by autism and Asperger's syndrome, but also to help professionals, for example, to deal with people who have autism and Asperger's syndrome, because it's amazing how it is still a very unknown condition. And so there is a lot of scope for training for these professionals, and this is the place where it can take place, and the people who are in charge of it have the skills and the connections, the links to reach these professionals. I'm very proud of Matthew's legacy, and it was a way for me to have something good that coming out of a terrible event. There was his death, and for me to see something like this, it makes me think that if it had existed when he was alive, he probably was still alive now, because what he needed was a place where to, spend time during the day when he wasn't doing the little jobs he was doing, or his other activities he had, and it would have been good for his social skills. He would have been able to make friends, which he found very, very difficult. In fact, he didn't have any friends really. So I'm very, very, very happy that this place exists now. And it was difficult to start it up, but in the end I found the right people, and I'm very happy with the work they're doing, and so it's going well, and I'm happy with it.